I joined Coca-Cola right from campus, and then I worked with Saregama. 2011, I also start Seamstress, which is my clothing label, where I work with handloom weavers from across the country. This is Ranganore. 2011 we started. I know it feels like home. I mean, there would no other place that I would rather be like if when I come here. I'm here and I wonder that why am I anywhere else?
Tell us a bit about what you've done in the last 25 years.
I joined Coca-Cola right from campus,
Is that in
and
marketing? Uh,
yes, sales and marketing. Yes, that was actually a very interesting stint. I worked with Coke for about 4 years and in several places. Think I discovered my love for the heartland, rural India, as they say, and small towns from there,
yes.
possibly. That because I'd never, as a kid, lived in India. My father was working in Bahrain, so I lived there most of my life, except of course graduation.
And where all in the 4 years, where all did you get posted?
I was posted in Bangalore, Calcutta, Jamshedpur for a bit,
Hmm.
Ahmedabad. While the posting was in the larger cities, and we have to do a lot of traveling to the
Right.
interiors. There was also a stint which actually took us to interior Karnataka, and we were working
Mhm.
with an NGO for a bit. It was part of their corporate social responsibility stint, I think. But I really loved that, and I think
Right.
now when I look back at the moment, I don't know if I had the maturity to realize. But now
Yes.
when I look back, I think ultimately I was a small town girl. And then when
Mhm.
you go back to places like that, you feel at home there.
So what were you doing? मैंने 5,000 10,000 लोगों के टाउन में जाके what are you doing in a small town?
I think we were researching. I'll have to think back, but offhand, what I remember is that we were researching buying patterns. How were these outlets being, of course, and then checking how were these outlets being serviced. What is possibly the distance between two outlets? How many villages can a route cover? What did these outlets look like for starters? What were their purchase behavior? Who were these people who were coming and buying? What is their life like? So we also actually did go into several households. I think at some point that was also part of the training.
So four
That's it.
years you
So
did in Coke.
And
Then
then I worked with Saregama in Calcutta.
okay, okay.
okay.
So HMV
Mm.
Saregama, in the music sector. Why did
Yeah,
you?
art
How did you
music.
make that shift? Was it like the entertainment industry beckoning you,
I
or
think so, but you
something
know
else?
what? I actually loved it. That was one job I really loved. It's like they say about second marriages, no? Like
Yes,
they have a better
yes.
chance of working because you know who you actually are. I
Yeah.
loved that job. So, but for whatever reason, it didn't work out, or there was a time for it, and then it kind of
So what was the
uh,
job? What were you doing with Saregama?
I was marketing, and these guys have the largest catalog of music in the country, dating from the oldest, that Gohar Jan recording that everyone knows
Hmm.
about. The project, I mean, amongst other projects, one of the projects that I was working on would have been the precursor to today's Spotify.
Okay, nice,
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
nice.
yeah. It was really,
Yeah.
really, really interesting. So one part of my
Yeah.
job was literally categorizing, and we were working on something called those days very funnily termed. Don't laugh now. It was called dial a CD. Okay. And we literally categorize the songs by genre, different genre, and then someone
Yes.
could actually dial in and say, "ये मेरा favorite singer है, ये मेरा
Hmm.
favorite whatever genre है," and then you just throw up a whole options for him or her, and then burn a CD and courier it. So that was
Nice.
one of really really interesting project, and I was in their studio, so the cassette factory. Which then became like a ghost town of sorts, and it was like a huge campus. The recording studio was all there in Dum Dum, so I used to work out of that office,
Mm.
and it had this very nice old day antique colonial vibe to the whole thing with this lovely music. So that was an amazing stint. I really loved it.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So tell us more about what happened between 2007 and 2017 because as I'm trying to understand your journey, you're at Coca-Cola, then you're at HMV, and
Mhm.
then your beautiful villa starts in 2017. So
A
what happens during those 10
seamstress
years?
happens in the 2011. I also start seamstress, which is my clothing
Okay.
label. Where I work with handloom weavers from across the country, handloom weavers, block printers, block printing
Okay.
artisans, all sorts of handwork, hand craftsmen. That
So
started in
Seamstress
2011.
was
There
your
was
first entrepreneurial venture, even before the this
yes,
Crackdown.
Yes. In fact,
Okay.
we stumbled upon this place in Cranganore because of seamstress. I
Right.
work with weavers across the river, and we'd come there to like I had, and then I said, "Look at this place. This looks really amazing." And Vineet always wanted beachside cafes. I think everyone's dream. You know,
Yes.
every time
Yeah,
this whole
yeah.
concept going, it's discussing it like, "हाँ मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ यहाँ पे? I need to
Mm.
open a
Uh-huh.
beachside cafe." Whatever. That was his
I think our
dream. So I said,
generation, we grew up watching Tom Cruise and Cocktail, and some of that influenced us.
"Yeah,
So,
yeah,
Yeah.
so
yeah,
you were on a professional career. You took a bit of a break because of
yeah,
personal reasons, and then
yes,
somehow you came into clothing and that industry. How did you
yes."
decide that you want to launch seamstress? How did that transition happen when you were working
I
with your
think
mother?
a year into working, initially the working was all very get fabric from somewhere, convert it into designs in your own space, in the tailoring space that we had. But it seemed very superficial. And I think once I got out of that difficult space, and you start looking at this work for what it is, and suddenly one
Hmm.
fine day you find yourself, surrounded by a lot of clothes, and then you start thinking that what more can I do over here, rather than just being like a sort of commodity trading. How
Yes.
can one make this whole a little bit more soulful. So
Yes.
then I thought, let's start working with the weavers instead of having middlemen. Let's just go directly to the weavers. Let's go directly
Hmm.
to the artisans and see what we can do over there. So one is, of course, the joy you get out of working with people directly, because once you work with
Yes.
the weavers, there's all sorts of possibilities. You're learning different techniques, ancient forms of weaving, how you can incorporate into new age designs, and many of them, mind you, while I do appreciate the NID and NIFT designers, many of the weavers themselves, मतलब इतने सालों का तजुर्बा है, they themselves
Yes.
will actually be able to do some amazing designs themselves.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
started something called as the Kaitari project, which literally means like the Kaitari in Malayalam means um, hand woven, handloom hand woven. So I traveled the length and the breadth of Kerala, chronicled all of the handloom weaving societies that there were, and commissioned work with like a good number of them. With this, I wanted to bring together what was an ancient, forgotten heritage and give it like a new age spin. There was the gratification of actually having given back to what I thought was a dying heritage, and the creative satisfaction of having created something that was really new.
So you're sitting in front of a very beautiful villa. What is that? Tell me about it. What is this
This
villa?
is Ranganore. This is
Okay.
mine and Vineet's passion project.
So when did you start this project?
2011 we started, so we
Okay.
literally actually hoarded up and bought. This was actually 5 plots of land. So around 2011 is when we started buying land. It was 5 different pieces of land, so we literally saved up and bought, and started construction around 2014.
Wow.
We worked with a really, really good architect. He is literally the Jeffrey Baba of Kerala.
Oh
And
wow.
we had, so there's a Dutch palace across the river on the other side. And that was our inspiration. So as you can see, if you see behind me, can you see these columns? The
Yes, we can. Yeah. Yeah.
ground floor is, so that is actually inspired by Dutch architecture. We wanted a mix of the Dutch architecture, which is very something very unique to this part. A lot of the reviews, if you go through the reviews, you'll see that everyone talks about the people here, how warm they are, how nice they are, how amazing that is. And I feel
Yes.
that to the point where someone actually asked me one day that how can anyone be so nice? Everyone here is so warm. Is it actually real? So I told them that they're just simple village folk. They don't know to
Yes.
behave another way. So we haven't trained them to be like your 5 star. How are you doing today, sir? They don't greet you like that. I keep that rawness intact, because that is what lends itself that authenticity. And in today's day and age, I really feel like kindness is something that is a very is a trait which is scarce, and you show a little kindness to people, you show that little warmth, and you mean it, and it comes from the heart. That makes all the difference.
Rashmi, the audience for your resort, is it mostly people from India or is it mostly people from Middle East or from Europe or from
It's
US?
mostly UK, France. I so pre-COVID it was like what 60% UK, France, Italy. Bulk was
Okay.
UK, still is. Post COVID, I think domestic travel has increased.
Okay.
substantially. So I would say more domestic, and that's Bangalore, Bombay. These are my main places, and then the UK. And
So,
Kerala is very well marketed in the UK market. So they are.
okay.
It's so there's the Golden Triangle. We have to fight with the Golden Triangle, of course,
Yeah.
but Kerala is very much part of the like the known circuit. It's on the bucket list
Okay.
for a lot of people.
Okay. How much time does this business still take from you in a week? Once you've set it up, is it on autopilot? Can the managers run it?
Yeah,
Or do
yeah,
you.
yeah. For day-to-day ops, I am not required. I've structured it in
Okay.
such a way that for day-to-day operations, I'm not required. I am here for strategy, and so a lot of the daily ops I like doing, but if I don't do it, it's not like it won't get done because there's always
Okay.
someone, staff will take care of it. But I like doing it. Like, for example, I make sure that when I'm here, I talk to everyone. I like meeting people. It's a great place to talk to different people. And it's also a great way for you to figure out, what are people's drivers. And I don't know, I think there's a little bit of a storyteller inside me. So I'm always hap- uh, curious about, what makes people tick and why they're here. And otherwise, I'm like, say, for example, I'm working on setting up a Ayurveda program. So a
Okay.
package of sorts. So I've in talks with a couple of doctors, setting that whole thing up. How to structure it, how many people do I need to recruit for this, and how does it work, and what's the infrastructure that I need to have for that. So there's a lot of conversation around that, and also setting up the earlier thing that I told you about, an artist school. It's like a backward integration of sorts. So if I investing in their training, then these are artists who are also available to kind of demonstrate and give immersive experiences to the guests.
What are your summarizing words to fresh MBAs from IIMs and other institutes based on your career journey?
It would be to experiment in your career, not just stick to one path. Like when you get out of B school, you think that you know what you want, and that you think that there's a certain way. And almost by the time you decide, like, agar sales and marketing career hai, for example, so people will tell you that you've got to do 2 years in sales and then move to marketing, or 3 years in sales and then marketing, and you must do category, and then you must do brand, and then you must do this. And there's like a path that's already charted out, and you just have to, like, do all of that. But I seriously think that learning about who you actually are comes from experimenting in your career and trying. I'm not saying to wildly go from one field to another, but I'm saying in that career itself, in the chosen path itself, if you could experiment working with different kind of organizations, like if it is marketing, then different kinds of organizations, different kind of product services example, then you get a better understanding of what you like. Because there's uh, I would just say spend the first 6 7 years learning, and then thinking about what is it that you actually want to do. Because so very often I hear so many people say this. I hear so many people say this, that it's quite late in life that I realized that this is actually what I wanted to do, and I discovered my calling way too late in life. And possibly I say this to my children, I say this to the older one at least, that experiment right now, spread it wide, and learn as much as you can. You can always decide what you want to do at a later stage. There's no hurry, but learn and learn now.